Welcome to the second lecture on biodiversity. Here we look at ecosystem services. These are the values that biodiversity provides to humans. These are the things that we get from healthy ecosystems. Humans have an intimate relationship with ecosystems, and so there are lots of values that ecosystems provide for us. There's a lot of different ways that we try to organize these. On the right here, you'll see a chart that tries to organize them into different categories: ecosystem services that are supporting, or cultural, or provisioning, or regulating. Here's a chart that you've seen from class, and so once again, divide these up into some different categories, but you'll see things on here like, yeah, okay, we get food from biodiversity, we get wood, building products from biodiversity, we also get things like pollination services, we also have artwork and spirituality and things that come from ecosystems as well. For the sake of this course, I'm going to divide ecosystem services, or the values of biodiversity, up into three distinct categories. The first one is direct economic value. And so there are some cases where we take biodiversity and we use it directly, and we can turn it into dollars in our economy. And so harvesting timber, harvesting a species of plant. Over on the right hand side here, you'll see us harvesting a species of fish. This is bluefin tuna. It's a species that's worth a lot of money, but increased biodiversity can bring us increased dollars from our environment. The second major category of ecosystem services is ecological life support. Healthy biodiverse ecosystems provide services that support and sustain life. And so, for instance, you can see in this picture of a wetland, we have all sorts of plants growing here, and plants photosynthesize and they produce oxygen in the process. And so we need oxygen to breathe. Other things that wetlands do is they provide pollution control and water filtration. They clean water as water flows through them. And finally, wetlands provide an important role in flood control, and so they regulate tidal surges, they help mitigate storms. It's a little bit more difficult to directly put a dollar value on these ecological life supports, but we can actually try, and we can find out they're worth a lot of money. And so on this chart, I have some images of wetlands in Louisiana. And so this is actually right near where New Orleans is. New Orleans would be somewhere in here on these pictures, but you can see New Orleans was built on a huge wetland actually, but it's decreased over time. The wetlands are disappearing. And one major implication of this is actually one of the worst disasters in U.S. history, Hurricane Katrina in 2005, which caused massive damage and flooding of New Orleans. New Orleans probably received something like maybe $60 billion dollars in damages just based on flooding, and a lot of scientists think that there would have been a lot less flooding. The city would have been destroyed a lot less if these floodlands were still intact, and so these wetlands may have been worth some tens of billions of dollars. Another example of being able to put a dollar value on some of these ecological life supports comes from New York City and their drinking water supply. There are some watersheds that provide the drinking water to New York City. The water is piped in through these aqueducts, but the watersheds themselves were not filtering the water well enough, and the city was going to have to spend maybe about $6 billion to put in a new water filtration system. Well, what the city decided to do instead was spend about $1.5 billion actually just cleaning up the forests and cleaning up the watersheds, and so that they would filter the water better. And so that alone saved the city about $3.5 billion. In addition to that, it's millions of dollars not having to run the water filtration plant. And so these healthy ecosystems high in biodiversity are worth billions of dollars. So besides actually providing us with economic value and also life-supporting services, biodiversity provides us with some cultural value. Cultural value that's really important to human beings. We actually, as a species, are evolved at some level to really like biodiversity, like healthy ecosystems, get a lot out of them. And so they inspire our artwork, and they inspire our religious systems, and they also inspire us to relax and meditate and spend time recreating outdoors. And finally, one thing that biodiversity does for us is it provides us something to learn about and something to study, and that's really valuable to a lot of people, in addition to some of our technological breakthroughs that come because of biodiversity. So, all right, that wraps it up. Thanks so much.